Hello, welcome to the work keys testing for the Milton Freewater School District. In order to get to the administrative realm and the work keys program, you first have to navigate to the appropriate URL. So you can see the URL here on your screen. You might want to screenshot it or type it in. Of course, I can always send it to you, but the first step is to navigate to the appropriate realm. The students will have a separate realm that they log into for testing. So once you navigate to the work keys administration realm, you'll see this page with various buttons to the side. The most common one that we want to use for our purposes is user management. So if you click on user management, you'll come to this screen, and on this screen you can either search for students that already exist simply by entering their first or last name and hitting search, or you can create a new account for a student that has not yet been entered by going to the right and clicking this small little gray button that says create on it. That one can be tough to find without some help. So that's the key to adding a new student, going to user management and clicking the gray create button. If I click that button, it takes me to this screen and allows me to create the user by entering some personalized information. For our purposes, we have been creating user IDs with the student's first initial, a dot, and then their last name. The password, you can't see it here, but our password for our students has been Pioneer Student. So you can see here we've entered this student's first initial, last name, entered the password, confirm the password, and then you can jump down to this personal information section, enter the student's first name, last name, and then just create an examinee ID. Again, typically we've used first initial dot last name. There is a character limit on this field, however, and so in this case we ran out. But that's been the basic standard protocol for entering user IDs and examinee IDs. So once I have that information in, that's all I need to enter. That'll save us some time. The kids can fill out the rest once they log in. But once I have that in, I can simply scroll down to the bottom and hit submit. And once I hit submit, it'll take me to another page. Notice this is still within the user management tab, but in this particular screenshot, I'm assigning the student a role. So I'm still in user management, but I have the opportunity to assign a user a variety of roles. So in this case, I just want the student to be an examinee. So I'll check that box and I will hit submit. But notice that if I wanted to add someone to help out with profile management, user management, someone to help with batch loading, or another account manager, I could simply add that role in this screen and hit submit, and then that user profile would have the appropriate access to any of those features. So let's go back to the student. So once I've created the profile for the student, I've created the role. This particular student is now an examinee. So the next step is to assign a specific test. So in this screen, I can go to the right side and again hit the create button, and hitting the create button will allow me to add tests to this user profile. So if I hit create, I can go. It'll take me to this screen, and notice on this particular screen I've added the applied mathematics and reading for information tests. So this student is now basically set up to take the work keys test for math or reading. Once I click on those buttons, I hit submit, and then it's going to ask me about a financial profile, and then typically there's only one option. But for our kids, we select work keys government. Since we're a government agency, we have a different pricing structure. So work keys government for financial profile, and then hit submit. And once that's been done, the tests have been added to the profile, and the student basically it says basically the status is pending and requires authorization. So that allows us to kind of be in a holding pattern. The student can come in whenever we can arrange an opportunity or whenever it's convenient, and then we can allow the student to test. Now, once the student, let's say, for example, the student is in my office and ready to test. The next step, at this point, I go through the user management tab. I come to the registration tab within that profile, and then there's a drop down menu. As you can see, it's shown on this screen. The drop down menu says more actions, and in this case, the action that I want is authorize. I want to authorize this student's particular test. So I would, let's say, for example, I clicked on the reading test and then I authorize. Now that student has 30 minutes to start the test. And that's just a security measure. If they don't start the test within 30 minutes, I'll have to do this step again. But once the student is in my office, I need to authorize the specific test they're taking. And to do that, I go in the registration tab and click more actions, authorize, and that student will be ready to test. One additional feature worth pointing out that's in this same it's under the user management, registration, and then the more actions drop down menu. If I want a quick summary of the scores that this student has earned, I can also click to the summary report under this drop down, and it will let me know what the scores have been. So there's several things, several features that are useful in this particular window.